like many even startups here, they arrived from Kiev just to be part of the event and then go back. And they keep working there under this every day and every night missiles attack, and they keep working. And we had those blackouts, the troubles with electricity during the night in the winter time, and startups still alive. So, and we developed such a speech with Pavlo Ryzhii about actually source of resilience. Yes, we call it Ukrainian superpowers.
I will not hide the message from my side, and will start from this one, because I truly believe that Ukraine is now in the world is in the best position to be the sustainable innovation sandbox for the world. Yeah, because, and why it is so, actually, I will elaborate.
Yeah, it sounds shocking and surprising.
Yeah, within a couple of next minutes, and with some slides of support about me. This is psychedelic slide, like Elena told me.
Ukrainian design style.
Yeah, I'm actually the corporate guy. I grew up in corporations, and the last 6 years I'm in the corporate innovations. I'm building corporate innovation, entrepreneurship systems, and helping corporations to innovate. And it's not usually almost always not possible without participation and engagement with startups. So it's also about open innovation story, governance models behind that, and different enablers around that. So Ukraine is destroyed. This is a fact, and it's continuously been destroyed. And currently, a latest estimation from the World Bank is damage reach the level of $411 billion. But actually, different estimations give different numbers, but we're definitely talking about a figure which is approximately $500 billion rebuilding opportunity. This is how I would look at the situation. And here, I would love to say that before the war, Ukraine was in a position which was not so far from being a great place to live, but at the same time, it was close, not as close, but definitely not the land of a billion. With the war, definitely we moved a little bit on the left side, and this is a bad thing. And if we're talking about in terms of recovery or rebuilding, we usually think like recovery back to the previous state. My message is like we should go beyond. We should not stop on moving just to the state where we were before the war, because that was not the perfect state as well. We want to go to the state great place to live. So we have to reborn Ukraine, we have to renew Ukraine. And without innovation, without startups, without collaboration between startups and corporations, it's not possible. Ukraine do have its superpowers, and this is, I will give you just a part of the list which justify why it is possible. So we do have an amazing commitment. On this picture, you see the lady. She is teacher, and she is running the online online lesson for the kids, yeah, online class, just from the street during the winter, just because in that place she can reach a free Wi-Fi, because in her house she doesn't have electricity and connection to the internet. So she's extremely committed. We're extremely resilient because we keep coding from the basements of our buildings. We keep running TV and radio shows. We keep running workshops, lessons, etc. We still keep connecting, and we keep delivery to our clients. We keep our promises. Assurance, this is another superpower, and we have now tons of stories about the Ukrainian delivery services, which keep performing and overperforming during the air raid alerts in different cities. And on this QR code, you can see the video of the guy from the Netherlands who is actually making a stand-up on that from his own experience. And he said, okay, I keep sitting in the city, in the shelter, under the alarm attack, that my courier is moving with my delivery, with my order. And he said, if this is possible in Ukraine, what a competitive advantage these guys have in front of compared to delivery services in the Netherlands, which are can be stopped with any other insignificant versus to Ukrainian reason with my delivery. And it's funny, it's interesting, a couple of minutes, just you can scan and see. We are creative. We 3D printing components of the bombs exactly on the front line. So this is exactly live screenshots from the video you can find on the internet when our brave soldiers are 3D printing 1 kilometer from the line of the war line, yeah, 3D printing components for the bombs, which are immediately going to the, like say, in action. We are confident. Yep.
This is my favorite one. I mean, after living 1 year in Europe, you know, this is trains.
Yeah.
I mean, I will tell it, Pasha, you can have a break. So when you have a little rain here and your train can be delayed like 5 hours easily. When you have a little missiles attack in Kherson, your trains arrive in Lviv just in time. I don't know, what is this phenomenon called? I mean...
Yeah, it can be called with different words, but I call it CAF confidence, but it's other superpowers are applicable here. So this is who don't know the story, this is a train from Kherson to Lviv, which were attacked with this missile, and this is a real picture from the action.
2 weeks ago, I think, or 3 weeks ago, when we were
It's
preparing.
happened recently, yeah. So missile just hit the train in the train station in the Kherson, and it caused only 14 minutes delay of taking off of this train. And this train came to Lviv just in time with 0 minutes delay. So when I'm traveling in Germany with Deutsche Bahn, for example, and they have certain reasons to delay with their trains, with this case, I'm just saying, hold my beer. Yeah? Agility. This is amazing case when our farmers are not been able to put the seeds in their fields just because the fields are mined. Ukraine is most mined territory in the world right now. 30% of the territory is not possible to access because of the mining. Because of the mines in the land, yeah? And our like farmers were told, like, okay, wait, it will take 30 years or even more to demine our territory. What they said, no, we are not agree with that. We will act by ourselves. And they start creating in their garages such kind of a devices where they take the old tractor, they put equipment on it, the investment in total, approximately $1,000, and this tractor is remotely controlled by the tractor driver, I mean actual tractor driver. This is not made by Boston Dynamics or by some other advanced companies which have made drones for millions of dollars and many, many years of prototyping, etc. 1 month, $30,000 investment, and this tractor is already demining Ukrainian fields. And what is interesting that such kind of a cases start appearing in parallel in Ukraine in different regions. So individual farmers start creating solutions like that. And when I'm saying that Ukraine is a perfect place for the sustainable innovations, co-innovations, I would say like that, what is sustainable in this solution? And why it's better than, for example, just waiting when Switzerland will produce for $1 or $2 million another demining professional machine for Ukraine? Well, the answer is very simple. For the same amount of money, you can have a fleet of tractors like that, which will perform demining, and then you just take off the equipment, demining equipment from these tractors, and these tractors, the same machines, the same tractors, start doing their agricultural work. Versus demining machines, which will be produced, will demine once and will stay in the garage and waiting for another case. And this money will be like freezed. This is what how I'm calling sustainable, smart innovations in Ukraine and with Ukraine. Ukrainian startups keep performing tests with the new kind of engine rockets, for space rockets, which will definitely will be beneficial for the entire world. Another superpower of ours is renewability. We rebuilding these buildings which were destroyed. One of the buildings is Kyiv, both are from Kyiv, yeah? And the first one is 1.5 kilometers from my actual apartments in the Kyiv. I think this is a Chernobylska street in the Svetoshin region, Akademistechko region it's called. And it took a couple of weeks to actually back these buildings to reconstruct them and
livable condition, right?
And in a month or something, in a condition so people can back and start living there. So
this is my favorite. Guys, wake up! It's about sex now.
It's about real world indomitability, if I may say so. Complicated word, but it's about the following. So, under the threat of being burned in the nuclear fire promised by Russia every day, we will use nuke, we will use nuke, we will use nuke, they keep saying, because this is only leverage they have to put pressure on us, instead of being scared, hide and saying, okay, take Donbass, stay in Crimea, let's have a status quo, what Ukrainians said, they united in a few 100,000 community and said, we will make love together in the Shikavitsa hill in the Kiev. So the Shikavitsa is the name of the hill, and this is a word which we are using to answer to any like total threat. So when someone is saying, we will kill you, we say, no, Shikavitsa is waiting for us, no problem. So we're answering with love, with total love to the total death threat from others. So, and this is an extreme superpower, and unfortunately, I don't have as strong evidences from other nations who can demonstrate the same attitude. Yeah? So, and with these superpowers, don't you think we are really super partner for sustainable core innovations? And this has been recognized by the global media. They already start saying, hey, Ukraine is already co-experimenting with some defense technologies, with some startups, with some companies, with some corporations in that field. Some global military, so far majority of cases are related to defense, yeah? But I just described to you a case with the tractor, which is kind of a defense, civil demining, but ended up with the agricultural capability, yeah? So far defense, and I would love to read these quotes, but these quotes are saying that we never seen such a speed, such a commitment, such a creativity, such a speed of delivery, such a speed of coding, such a short terms between idea and solution in the hands of actually users of the solutions elsewhere in the world. And this has been said by, for example, the Pentagon's chief weapon buyer, for example. So all these facts, all these superpowers makes me confident in making statement that Ukraine is the best place, best country with the best people now for the role of the global sandbox for sustainable innovations.
Thank you. And coming back to sandbox, Pavlo, can you comment on your vision, how you see our future, what ecosystem will be, who can help us, what corporates can do?
Yeah, with pleasure, because actually complementary to the fully emotional thing, like motivation to back to Ukraine for those startups who left because of the war, etc. I see my value to show very clearly, very rationally, rational values and reasons to do so with Ukraine. Not just because Ukraine is under the war and the world's supposed to help Ukraine. No, it's included, but I would love to go beyond to very rational field of it. So first of all, there is an amazing green field right now, and I already gave you an example. I keep giving examples on what can be done already right now in terms of the co-prototyping and co-innovating with Ukraine, in Ukraine, which then can be capitalized during the big rebuilding program in Ukraine and scaled globally. To do so, we need not only startups from Ukraine, but startups from all over the world. We need international corporations and Ukrainian corporations participating because currently Ukraine is missing capacity to rebuild, honestly speaking. Yeah? And this is European Commission is also stating there. We do have funds, but there is a lack of capacity where we could put these funds. Yeah? And that's where the collaboration with Ukrainian companies can make the game. With the tractors, for example, if you think further, we can imagine in Kharkiv tractor plant, which is producing these tractors, for example, we can have Ukrainian and international startups who can help these tractors to be equipped with the equipment for demining and for autonomous running these tractors. And we can imagine some international corporation partners like John Deere or other tractors producers or demining equipment producers who can then after play the game in scaling of the story in Ukraine, first of all, and globally. So Ukraine, the rebuilding project can be a very accessible first scaling opportunity for this prototyping and co-experimenting, you know what I mean? That's why I see very clear business model behind it and pure value. Other values, it's costs. You can co-experiment very fast and very cheap in Ukraine. You can co-experiment with many things which is not possible to co-experiment elsewhere because we are dealing with the issues like building from the scratch entire cities. It means that infrastructure is there, energy is there, and sustainable solutions is there. Distributed power generation, renewable power generation, power distribution, peer-to-peer power distribution from neighbor to neighbor. So thousands of new business models and sustainable models, recycling models. We should utilize somehow these millions of tons of building waste, which is now in the destroyed cities, to be turned into the building materials, which will be used to rebuild the city. So, and there are thousands of cases like that. That's why I'm saying it's a perfect place. We see that under the alarms, under the rocket attacks, missile attacks, our people keep doing their job and keep doing their job even better than it was done before. So we have all capabilities and commitment from the people. Yeah. So, and another reason is like the same people, the same corporations can be partners for the global peers who will co-innovate in Ukraine while scaling these inventions made and tested in Ukraine globally. Because we need to have, for a very obvious reason, not only sustainable solutions, but affordable solutions, because Ukraine cannot afford sustainable solutions ready to use, been developed a couple of years ago, which are currently accessible for the market because they are too expensive. You cannot just on the Ukrainian scale to have some innovative, sustainable solutions in many fields just because they are expensive. So we need to co-create them, reinvent them if you want, to make them more affordable, if they are sustainable and affordable, then after they are, from using the word sexy, to deploy globally with these global partners as well. So this is why I see the perfect match between global corporations, Ukrainian corporations, global startups, Ukrainian startups, and of course, yeah, government should play the role there, but the scale is so big, so government have no choice to do it by themselves. They should do it with the private sector. So this is my perspective on that and justification why it is so and how I see the situation. When we're talking about this sandbox, we're talking about really huge and unique offer. Yeah. And
you're really unique with unprecedented challenges, you know.
And when people are saying why we should start now because the war is there, yeah, why we should start now? Look, a German government has already made securities for 221 million euros for German companies to invest in Ukraine. They said, go now, and we are already covering your risk related with the investments now, during the war. Some German companies are already committed and signed off to produce, yes, starting from weapon, but already signing off production and co-production agreements with Ukrainian companies. Many companies are silently in a stealth mode, testing and prototyping certain solutions in the defense, and not only in the sector, in medical sector as well, and so on and so forth. And this is not new for Ukraine because we've been co-prototyping before the war big time with different sectors. Take the medical researches. Ukraine used to run hundreds of medical researches with dozens, thousands of people engaged annually with all top pharmaceuticals companies in the world. We've been running thousands of experiments on learning or teaching neural networks and artificial intelligence engines before the war in Ukraine with Ukrainian teams, etc. So this is not something new for Ukraine. This is not like you come and say neural networks that people are coming down from the palm or from the tree and saying, oh, show me the neural networks. No, these people are actually building them and making these solutions now available globally. So that's why the very rational reasons to do so in a collaborative way.
And exactly, as accelerator, we've seen several cases when American startups already come into Ukraine. So, and it's not only military tech, it's not only drones, but there are some medtech startups. And tomorrow I've met Polish startup who already present in Ukraine, and they were scaling to Ukraine now during the war. It's EdTech startup. So actually, it's a good thing for startup to still perceive Ukraine as active market. It's a market of 50 million people, which is quite really unprecedented, nothing like this now in Ukraine, and the market is easy to absorb innovation, really. Low barriers for medtech startups, very welcoming atmosphere for agri-tech startups. So you guys, if you are a startup, you might consider this market.
And what is also important, let me add a little bit, so it's more connected with my core duties for the corporate innovations as well. So many corporations are already starting and have an experience of doing the corporate innovations. They do have interfaces to co-innovate with the other corporations and with the startups as well, because it now allows you immediately talking about the scalability, not just I do have a proof of concept, or I even need money to proof of concept, and then after I don't know what to do and no one wants to give me the money because there is no proof of concept, like a vicious circle, no? Yeah? So in this case, we're saying, hey, we have a bright idea, brilliant idea, which can be potentially scalable. Why don't we spend certain small money to make a prototype, to test it, and have a valid data which will give us information about de-risking our future investment on the scale. So this is how it works, because the good or product or value in this sandbox mechanism is information about how to decrease your risks on investment on the scale. This is what is the good, the product which has been created and sold in this mechanism.
Thank you. And probably I want to thank you to our panelists and make a group picture of us and maybe those Ukrainian startups who are present here, right?